quickly. Yeah. But I have a little bit of video for that. But that was fun and that was great. But then you guys sat where? Where did you guys sit in the game?
Well, when Ken finally turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken.
Well, you know what? No, this is another cool story though. Okay, so I go over to the horse and carriage, right?
Where's that?
With Ollie.
Where is that?
It's not far. It's just on the other side of the. If you leave, I'm trying to think. If you leave Bricklayers, turn left, and you walk down about 300 yards, and it's on the right.
Is that I'm surprised there's any more beer left in England after Ken has left.
It's kind of a big pub that has a back area, not a back area.
Yeah, it's got a massive back. It's got a back patio and then a back garden behind it.
The whole pub is big and nice. Yeah, I've been there once. I met Marco, my friend Marco there.
So I'm back there, and we met a bunch of it's basically a family. It's this guy, his 2 sons and his 2 daughters, and his both their daughters' boyfriends, and they're all there. We met them up at Stoke. They had such a great time. They're like, hey, come see us before the match. We don't know if we're going to be able to stick around because we got to catch a train back to Stoke. So I told Ollie, I was like, great people, whatever. Let's go over there. And so we bolted over there. We're drinking fistfuls of beer. And Ollie said, hey, I'm empty, man. Let's get another beer. And I was like, so I gave him a tenner. And I said, well, if I'm buying, you're flying. You're going to go sit and stand in line. So I sent him over to the bar, which there's one outside, and it was just 10 feet from our table. So he's in line. And he finally gets up there and he yells my name and he says, hey Ken, here, grab these 2 beers. I'm going to get 2 more real quick. This way we don't have to come back later and we'll each have 2 beers. I'm like, that works for me. So I said, all right, thanks, man. Do you need any more money or are you good or whatever? And I grabbed the 2 beers and this guy turns around and he looks at me and he goes, are you Ken? Like Ken Saxton from the Hotspur America show? Didn't you just do the Spurs show? That's the first time that happened to me. And I looked at this guy like, you didn't just recognize me by my voice out of a crowd, did you? And he said, yeah, that's exactly what just happened. And he said, I listened to you on the Spurs show. I thought it was really cool. So it was like the first, because Mike Lee has told me, he's got a very distinct voice, Mike does, from the Spurs show. And he's told me it happens to him a lot, where people will recognize his voice in casual conversation with other people, and they'll ask him if it's him. I've never had that happen before. And I told the guy, I said, I have a very plain Jane American voice. I don't know. He goes, no, actually your voice is really distinctive when you listen to it, when it's, I guess, not you listening to it. And so he picked me out of a crowd. I thought that was really cool, and I gave him a massive shout out on Twitter for that.
That is really cool. It is cool.
That was remarkable.
Yeah,
but that was my one good story there. So anyway, I'm hanging out with these people, and I'm like, man, that other match is about to end. Shouldn't we get going? I think it's like 2:40 at this point. The standard answer seemed to be, we never watch kickoff. We'll get there when we get there.
Really?
Yeah. So I was, 10 minutes in? 11, 12 minutes in by the time I got there? Stumbled over everybody in our row to get to my seat. Plopped down next to Simon, and he just looked at me like...
I said, what the fuck off?
And he's like slurring words, and you know...
Oh, wasn't that bad?
I said to Ken, I said, dude, where have you been? And you're like, I am so wasted.
I am so wasted. I drank so much over that course.
I could have told him it was 3-0 already, and he wouldn't have known.
Yeah. Brilliant. So you guys were you sitting? You guys were in the shelf?
No.
Well, lower shelf.
Lower
shelf.
Not
in
really
the corner.
Shelf.
Which, by the way...
It's the academy section.
Yeah.
I'm a bit embarrassed by this, but I'll admit it. I now have a full understanding of what the shelf was. The shelf's always confused me because the shelf is not a shelf. The shelf is what it used to be, right? I mean, that's what... Yeah. So I didn't know that. And the great Vasconi, who's... I mean, your anorak status might be challenging, Vas. He's like you. He's cut from the same cloth. He knows his stuff. And so I didn't know. I asked him, and he explained to me. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Because I was like, why do they call it the shelf? Because like I was thinking, I've always been looking. I was like, well, it's got to be the shelf has to be the Paxton or Park Lane because that is a shelf.
Oh, no.
Of course, yeah, you're right, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that corner of the east stand was all one shelf. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's if you look at the 125-year video, I think it's Patrick Barkley refers to Spurs fans know their football and they like to watch it side on, and of course he's referring to the shelf. He said, the people who are in the know, they sit in the shelf, which...
Why is that?
Well, I personally, I don't like sitting behind the goals.
No. Oh, I love it. Oh my God.
Because I can't see what the hell's going on down
No,
the
no,
other
no. Listen.
end.
Okay, hang on. So Vass, and I gave Vass obviously tongue in cheek. So we are literally. So we're in the. We're in the park lane? Yeah, we're in the park lane, and we're upper, so we're above the goal, but we're right in the middle of that upper, and we're just, I mean, literally like one seat away from dead, solid, perfect. And I got to tell you, I was lower on the Paxton for the Arsenal match, and I loved it there, but I love it even more being, man, you see everything. You see everything just open up in front of you. I mean, it's a little bit hard to see sometimes when there's action on the away end, but you at least see the formation of the play. If I had season tickets, I mean, I know everyone wants to sit in the middle. I'd absolutely, for a combination of view and everything unfolding on before your eyes, and the passion and the feel that you get from there was awesome. Vast. Those seats were just the shit.
I honestly, of all my matches at the Lane, I've probably sat in every stand, upper and, well, no, I don't think I've sat. Yeah, I have sat in the Park Lane.
Above the goal, I thought was great.
I've been Park Lane upper. I'm trying to remember which would have been the best experience for me.
Not your prawn sandwich.
You know what's funny, Simon? Last time I was back...
You know what? I have to say it probably was sitting in a director's box, smack dab in the middle of the West Stand upper. And
stale, though.
Well, yeah, I couldn't sing.
But your
sight I could throw something at Sam Allardyce if I wanted to.
You know what's funny?
And knowing what I know now, I'd have probably done the same to Tim Sherwood.
So the last time I was in Park Lane upper, I was in the away supporter section.
Oh, dear.
It was that 04.
Yeah. I remember that story.
So it was majestic. You know what? Fuck. You could have put, pardon my French, you could have put me in the absolute shittiest seat in the house, and I would have had that day. So, anyway.
We turned home over 2-0, got a clean sheet out of it.
Want to talk about some football?
Lamela had a beauty of an assist.
Thought he had a good...
Did I know about that?
Oh, right. Oh my God, did you see it? Was this how it was?
Chadley scores. That turned to him. If memory recollects, it's like, that's why I love that kid. That was beautiful.
Well, he was. And quick harkening back to my seats, it made me realize how little width we have as a team under Pochettino's system, at least in that game, and made me realize that maybe Lamela should have more of a central role.
He kept cutting in.
It did. I mean, I wish he would have had a little bit of some more shooting, taking more opportunities. But thought he played very well. I thought he was the chippiest of all our players. He was trying to be in for every tackle, and his one-touch play is really great. And so I think
it was a great pass to Chadley. It was a gorgeous
pass. It was probably the best pass, probably the most accurate pass of the year, and he did it in a very stylish way. So. I mean,
I think the fact we had two, I say world class, it might be going out on a limb, but Ryan Mason's chip to Danny Rose, both of them beat the offside trap perfectly. Yeah. Hull put their hands up and stopped, which is stupid, and they paid the price. But Ryan Mason, and he's come in for some flack recently, but his chip was. Yeah. It was awesome.
And Danny's finish was really good as well.
I think there was a little bit of luck to it. I think if it hit it a little harder, it's up in row Z.
I always think that when you hit something like that with your off foot, there's always an element of luck that you hit it. I mean, he at least put himself in a position to give himself a...
Absolutely, and any left back that is the furthest man forward is good in my book. Fourth goal of the season.
It was the red hair that gave him...
The bad purple hair, right? Because that's the color he was going for.
But look, it was Hull, and there was some, it was an interesting narrative that Hull did have something to play for, but they're just terrible. They're just not good. And so, the first half, I don't think either team had a shot on goal. Maybe Vela, is that where?
Oh, well, they hit the woodwork, didn't they? Those don't count.
We didn't have one. We didn't have one. We played better in the second half, and I'm not even sure that late in the game. It's really, I almost think it's kind of a bit of a waste of a time to spend time analyzing it. It's just the psychology of the game it wasn't just much to play for. It was just don't lose because you're playing team.
Yeah.
Well, having the I don't know if you guys saw Match of the Day when you got in, but
I didn't get to record it either because I couldn't get a cell reception or mobile phone reception so I could record it. So one of the few matches I haven't watched like 3 times over.
Yeah, I think I watched our highlights a couple of times, and they did have a couple of great opportunities to at least pull one back. And I think
Simon, that was on our end.
Dyer and Fazio off the line.
They did. They had an exchange where I think there were 3 shots.
Yeah.
Clear.
Yeah. It was the final one just going wide of the post. So.
They're really bad. I mean, they should have put.
But you know what was interesting? Opta and the Evening Standard Opta had Rose and, believe it or not, Fazio, or if you listen to Motson, Fazio. They had those 2 as the top-ranked players in the game, and the Evening Standard put all 4 of our backline into their London team of the week.
Couldn't understand that.
How fucking unreal is that?
Quarters of our starting 11 was in that all London team. I was just like, what's this? And everyone was smarting on Fazio, and although we didn't concede, I mean,
we should have. If it had been any other team than Hull, we would have shipped in a boatload of ghosts.
I think this. I think, and I don't want to speak ahead of our show next week, but I in terms of talking about football, it's almost irrelevant at this point. I mean, these games are meaningless. And although I will say this, I mean, I guess if we beat Everton, Liverpool loses, we get 5th.
I think if Liverpool draws, we get 5th if we win against Everton. They're only a point ahead of us.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So who's
However, if we lose and Southampton wins, we could end up 7th.
Yeah. Well, and as I've said, I'm indifferent about what we do. I think it's all about the transfer window and what we do. Anyway, I won't.
Well, I think you will find unless the gods are mad at something, then I don't see Villa getting the upset in the FA Cup.
No.
Which means in 7th place.
Goals. Hey, by the way, did any of you see the Sherwood press conference? I didn't. I was dying to see it.
I did.
Oh, you did? How was it? What did he say?
He wasn't very complimentary.
Did he give the did he go get the notes from the speech that he gave practically about a year ago that
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my God. 6-1. Listen, I'll just say this. This is the last thing I need to say. It was Simon, I mean, you've been to I've been to the Lane lots. You've been there exponentially more than me. It was to be there with you guys was amazing. It was to be there with the people that we were all collectively with was phenomenal. It was just an amazing experience, and it is not that I needed any validation or not that I was ever questioning why I love this club so, but it was ever more validation for the special organization. We suffer through much to be in love with this club, and you enjoy a weekend like that, and it's easy to understand why. So that is all for me. I love you too. I love that we were there together, and it was an amazing weekend. So thank you both.
For me, I have to say, and I've had some truly great experiences. And again, I don't want to sound odd in referring back to this time I was lucky enough to sit in the director's box, but this surpassed that just for everything that happened, the camaraderie of the folks I was with, Dallas Spurs members, non-Dallas Spurs members, the people we met, the legends we met, the training ground experience, and validating why we do what we do for the supporters club and for Dallas Spurs.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what? You know what, Simon? Both you guys, the club was incredible to us. The club
absolutely
deserves a shout out as well. We haven't mentioned them at all, and the club was remarkable. Club did some.
Stacey Haley, Jonathan Waite,
yep,
Trevor Ware,
Paul Coit, Daniel Wynn,
Paul Coit, Daniel Wynn.
Is all that folding? Is all that was unfolding? We were seeing on the stuff. I'm like, I cannot believe they do this. Like an hour before kickoff. Like, could you imagine like traipsing through Cowboy Stadium? An hour before kickoff. The fans mean something to this club, and I know there's a lot of people that bitch and moan and talk about how the negativity, but the club really cares about its supporters.
Yeah,
they do. And